Hello, friends. It's Chapo.
But there's no reason that this couldn't happen in like gender-neutral bathrooms because they would also have to have stools.
Because that's the cocaine experience.
Exactly, right? That's cool. Yeah, ingesting substances.
Yeah.
I was just trying to gatekeep the female toilet experience for men because, as we know, in a men's bathroom in public,
Business
if you,
only.
if you make eye contact with another man, there's a 50% chance
But
you'll
that
end
is
up in the
because you
hospital.
can see each other's like dicks, right?
Well,
It's just
only
a
if you're
very
looking.
emotional.
I always wonder
closed
about
off
that.
experience.
You guys you must
Well,
know
it
where you
depends.
stand
Well,
in like
no,
the
okay, like,
hierarchy.
We're not
of
the ones
businesses.
being interviewed here.
Well, if it's a row of urinals, a classy establishment will have the splash guard.
Yes.
A very clear demarcation, to prevent any cheeky cock spotting.
And you go
At
to
the urinal. But
and you
it's-
go to the physically furthest point
if there's
in the
not,
bathroom.
but
it's-
you have to go to
Don't
the
stand next to
yes.
someone.
You have to if it is a row of empty ones and you're taking a leak there and a guy goes up and stands right next to you. That is the most extreme violation of social customs and
Yes.
norms imaginable.
But that's cultural. In Berlin, there's no dividers,
Yeah.
and it's often a trough system.
Wow, I feel like
well,
that
we
might
know the reason for that, Virgil. Let's leave that for
Yeah,
another
because
episode.
it's the ideal society.
Yeah.
It's a free culture.
Well, I was gonna say the male bathroom experience is business only, and by that I mean having with one another.
silently without making eye contact.
Okay, there are 3 good reasons to be against gender-neutral bathrooms. 1, they are pointless. 2, they are wasteful. 3, they are sexist. So, pointless. Polling consistently shows that most Americans care most about bread and peace.
The bathroom one.
Nate Golden. They do not generally give much thought to potty policies. And so,
the reason that these are pointless is that people care more about bread and not going to war than bathrooms. So any other issue is just off the
it's
agenda.
pointless. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be fair, I would be all right with that. If we refocus the entire conversation in the US about not having wars, that would be fine.
Yeah, if politics is like purely the domain of poverty and prosperity and war and peace, yeah, fair enough.
That's good with us.
He goes, blah, blah, blah. Nevertheless, many in the metropolitan elites like to accuse the Trump administration of having targeted transgender people simply because of the laws they've tried to pass that target transgender people. No, I'm editorializing. By reversing Obama-era policies, they say, Trump and company have robbed trans people of safe and pleasant bathroom experiences. But isn't anyone curious how it all worked before Obama? And why is no one complaining about the various presidents before Trump who held the same approach to segregated bathrooms? Lyndon Johnson we know for sure he was a bathroom warrior. He did a lot of business in the bathroom and would use it to get politics done by showing people his penis while he was in the bathroom.
I did hear that. That was a thing. He actually made people come into the
He would
bathroom
make
with
According
him.
to Robert Caro,
And, like,
yeah.
Yeah,
leave
this
the
is
door
in the
open.
Robert Caro books. He would make people follow, like White House staffers and Congress people he was berating, follow him into the John. He would start pissing and then turn around full facing, and he's like, this is why you're going to get it done, basically. And famously, he was the most well-endowed president in American history.
Is that a fact?
It isn't. It's according to Robert Caro. I mean, I don't know when they started keeping records
Is that
on
on
this.
Wikipedia?
I would imagine Lincoln was probably,
Like,
just
is he
based on
tall?
tall.
I don't know. I don't think that's...
We've
John- I don't
already
think that's a
established that
correlation.
Teddy Roosevelt had a
Yeah.
small penis.
Yes. Johnson. No. According. This
Actually, shit, that Johnson is his name.
Yeah,
And that's
he called
the thing.
his cock jumbo as well. I'm just saying, Robert Caro, probably the most celebrated historian of American
Yes.
history.
Okay, so it's a fact.
This is pretty well confirmed. Johnson would often joke about when he was out on a boat. When he would take a leak off the side of the boat, he would say, "Anyone want to know how the water's like?" So, I guess what's more, it's not like presenting as the opposites particularly new human behavior. Since the 1960s, a tiny number of individuals have made a serious surgical commitment in more closely resembling the opposite sex. Life was, and no doubt is, difficult for such people. But how might this ideally play out? That is, context dependent, naturally. But if for argument's sake, we presume such a person to be sincere and well-meaning as opposed to, say, a predator. Yeah, thank you for assuming that, Madeline. Very generous of you. Then a natural relationship of trust might ensue. One where a woman washing her hands at the bathroom sink might do a double take, realizing that she is in the presence of a man, but after carrying out an instinctual and internal risk assessment, decide all is fine. How is this less complex than just having a row of stalls that anyone can use?
When my
like,
gender HUD display comes up and I do a tactical gender analysis.
but like,
What I don't get about this is that, I mean, presumably a lot of these people are like basically have a go at trans folk on the basis that, gender is socially constructed, therefore, playing into social constructs and femininity is feeds into patriarchy, right? But reinforcing gender binaries in this way by basically saying gender exists, it's biological. The only time that we've had anyone experimenting with gender was since the 1960s, when we know that, throughout
Like,
history,
literally the dawn of time.
different cultures have very different understandings of gender. Also, intersex people continue to exist, whatever. She's just basically saying there are men and there are women. And men are naturally scary and women are naturally afraid of them. And that's just life, kids.
But what she's saying here is before we started being aware of this, there may be someone who was trans who went in a woman's bathroom, and then she's just saying you could run game theory in your head as to whether they're a threat to you or not. Whereas she's saying that gender neutral bathrooms are pointless because they obviate the need for this kind of thought process in your head.
Yeah,
because
she's just saying she can't be the gender cop anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
After carrying out an instinctual and internal risk assessment, decide all is fine. She might even smile and say hello. But that is her prerogative, surely. The man in this rare hypothetical ought not to have a legal right to be there. Again,
Is it illegal to go into a woman's bathroom, a man's bathroom?
Depends on the jurisdiction.
Oh, really?
I guess. But I mean, what's interesting here is that, for years now, the right wing in this country has, as far as trans people and issues become more and more in our consciousness, they've given up the ghost on gay marriage, but then we know for sure, according to internal minutes of some big conservative, cultural conservative Christian political group after they had lost the Supreme Court decision. They just basically did a tactical retreat on all gay issues, which was not that long ago that gay rights and gay marriage was the front and center, most burning social culture war issue in our country.
Well, but they had been winning as recently as a decade ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And now it's all that's completely gone. And what they've done consciously is reformatted the same exact fight, but to make people afraid of trans people instead of gay people.
Which is why this article is so interesting to me, because I remember the Bathroom Warriors stuff. That was big. That was Chapo season 1 stuff. In the first 50 episodes, there were a lot of things about that. And then it's kind of gone away, which made me think, after the, along with the abandonment of gay marriage as an issue, it just seemed like I was surprised to hear that this was the topic of the reading series, because it just reminded me of think of Jacob Wohl releasing another press conference and being asked about his last scandal and being like, oh yeah, we're done with that.
Yeah. But no, it's interesting. It was that is Chapo Mark 1, the Bathroom Warrior thing. And it was always in the context of Ben Shapiro or someone being are you telling me that my daughter is going to see a man's penis in a bathroom? And I'm just wait a second. That just comes down to you don't know how a ladies' room or any public bathroom works.
Yes.
You just the gals just go in there, drop trow and pee in the same.
Literally just
Shit.
Yeah.
spent 2-3 minutes talking about, you do not see penises in guys' bathrooms because you're trying as hard as you can not to.
But also, presumably, a gender-neutral bathroom is one in which you don't have urinals. You just have stalls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You just have stalls. But I guess
Well,
That's
they can have
fine.
urinals also.
yeah, why not?
Sure.
Why not? I mean, honestly, probably make the line a little quicker. I mean, this is the actual issue when it comes down to men and women peeing and
I mean,
public spaces.
Romans had public bathrooms, and it was just everyone shitting out their doo-doo ass.
But my point about this is this new iteration of the culture wars. It used to be all the trans people bathroom panic was based on the idea that sickos were going to pretend to be women to go into women's bathrooms and do attack women and girls, right? Or so now that they've reformatted it. So it's taken them years to realize that a public bathroom is not just one big trough where everyone pisses and shits in. So now that they've come to gender neutral bathrooms, they're saying no, it's the privacy is actually the problem. So it's just their new way to invent a problem that doesn't exist. Because the actual, like, in the few places that have them now, first of all, half of every bar in New York City de facto has gender-neutral bathrooms because there's just 2 toilets that anyone can use.
Because, I mean, there's a premium on space.
There's a premium on space.
I mean, also, let's talk about, the financialization of real estate, but maybe another.
The ones that now have gender-neutral bathrooms, it's like a row of, like, not stalls, but, like, floor-to-ceiling doors. Yes. So it's like it affords you a much higher degree of privacy to, do drugs or take care of business. And then, like, a communal sink area, which is, like, again, if you have that, obviates any problems for, like, privacy or whatever. It's just men and women washing their hands together.
Between the sexes. And we all know where that leads to. Yes. Underage pregnancies, all sorts of,
sin, damnation.
Yes, exactly.
So, which brings us to the next one. If you want to talk about real estate, wasteful. How much do these pointless gender neutral? Well, she's saying it's pointless, but like essentially the gender neutral bathrooms solve a problem that didn't exist, that they were obsessed with in the first place, and now they're saying it's pointless and wasteful to do anything about, again, the imaginary problem that only they were concerned with to begin with.
What is she, the gender accountant?
Yes.
We have fourth quarter estimates. We can't afford gender.
So a wasteful just talks about how the conversion costs. It's just having locks on the door, blah blah blah. This is boring.
But it's also like an amazing thing to say, like, if we combine 2 bathrooms into 1 bathroom, that is actually more bathrooms.
And then finally, sexist. To be clear, single stalls are still miserable for women who make up, lest we forget, half the world's population. First, women are cleaner than men. Women do not stand and aim at the toilet, but sit on a seat. In case anyone had forgotten about that. They rarely misfire. They rarely get pee on the floor. Okay, I have it on good authority from a friend of mine who used to work as a janitor in an office building that the idea that the women's rooms are cleaner than the men's rooms.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all sorts of shit going on in there.
Myth.
You've got like periods. You've got, women having sex with each other, which obviously happens all the time.
Also, women will also often not fully sit down on the seat because of germs. And I'm sorry, you miss all the time when you do that as well.
That is 100% true, especially at like nightclubs and shit.
Yeah. So the idea that to say that women's rooms are cleaner than men's public toilets, that is sexist in my opinion and inaccurate. They always flush and almost always wash their hands. Second, women take.
How is women washing their hands going to affect this in any way?
Actually, I mean, by my calculation, washing your hands actually makes it dirtier because it allows another vector for water splashing.
Yes.
Soap,
that's true.
If we're talking about clean, pure bathroom purity, the less water discharging in the bathroom,
presumably,
the cleaner it's
maybe
going
we
to
could come up with a way of just making sure that nobody peed or pooped,
yes.
and then that would be the ideal.
Well, obviously, that's the society we're all going for.
Wasn't there a big argument in like the American church about whether or not Jesus peed and pooed?
No, there?
I feel like that was a thing.
That sounds like
that's got to be some like obscure Catholic.
Maybe I made that up.
I remember this takes me back to college, but in medieval Christianity, there was a huge debate about whether the Virgin Mary actually gave birth to Jesus Christ through the traditional,
out of the
vagina. Or there were some who said that she was such a pure being that Jesus emerged just sort of out of like light through her heart.
Right, yeah.
It was like,
like a completely immaculate.
But that is what vaginas are. They're just light, they're just like a little light bulb up in there.
I mean, yeah, no.
Do you guys not know that? Wow.
You're talking to a nerd audience here. So this will come as a shock to many of both the hosts and listeners.
That's going to be a future episode.
Well, she goes, third, partly for safety and partly in honoring an age-old ritual, women often go to the bathroom in numbers. Some will touch on makeup. Others will, if the line is too long, have a chin wag while there. But like not in the same fucking bathroom stall. It's all at the sink, after you do your business in the stall.
That's true.
But I suppose if there are men at the sink, you may feel like in a group of women, you probably like a certain kind of social censorship that you won't go as full on.
But like, if anything, it would be the other way around. If women go in packs, they'll like talk and be really loud, and they'll scare the shit out of the men who are just there by themselves, and all the women are being like, "Oh my god, this guy did this, and he's a fucking prick." The men will just get scared because they don't go in packs. All men will start going in packs, and we'll start building new forms of solidarity. Yes. Maybe the people will intermingle.
So I'm just going to skip ahead to the end here. It says, so why are colleges and businesses now spending millions of dollars in
millions of dollars
in accommodating the demands of activists supposedly speaking on behalf of a minority? Who knows? But what is clear is that they are doing so at the expense of privacy, hygiene, and camaraderie of an established and objectively majority females, especially those little ones.
See, this is going to bring the Trump administration to a real paradox, because he likes to brag about the ever-heightening GDP under his administration, but we're going to dig down and find out that all that growth is only coming from the booming bathroom transitioning economy, in which millions of dollars are being added each year, and then he's going to be at loggerheads with his own economy.
What do you think those corporations spent those tax cuts on?
Exactly.
It sure as hell wasn't share buybacks. It was building gender-neutral bathrooms.
Again, what's fascinating to me about this is like gender-neutral bathrooms, fine. Gendered bathrooms, like if as long as people like, you know, had some ounce of humanity in them, wouldn't be a problem.
And that's why I'm surprised that they're still on this, because it just seems like such a non-starter, or like, you know, completely interior to the National Review set. I mean, Will, you spend your entire life absorbing this kind of shit. Have you ever seen anybody talk about this outside the National Review crowd?
No. I mean, outside of like, Rod Dreher, the National Review, and like even more obscure, you know, fever swamps of right-wing mania and hysteria. No, yeah. Because I think, like, again, the normal people just understand how bathrooms work, and it's like not that big a deal.
Yeah, I feel like gender-neutral bathrooms are to the crazy libertarian right what like capital controls and socializing ownership is to the left. It's very much at the moment an internal conversation.
Yeah.
Except one actually means something about the world, and one is just literally dunking your head into a toilet.
Yeah, but that's just the difference between, you know, the left and the right generally, isn't it?
Well, I think that just about does it for this episode. Grace, I want to thank you for joining us. But before you go, please tell us a little bit about your book. And do a little plug here.
So my book is called Stolen: How to Save the World from Financialization. It has very little to do with anything that we've discussed so far, but, you know, obliquely, because I talk about, you know, how capitalism is collapsing around us, how we understand that, how like the period since the financial crisis has been, you know, this Gramscian moment, and we are seeing the birth of all kinds of morbid symptoms, including Brexit, including the rise of the far right, gender-neutral bathrooms, etc. And we have to build a new kind of class politics to deliver democratic socialism.
And maybe we can have you back on to talk about it.
That would be amazing.
Once again, the book is Stolen. Grace Blakely, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Cheers, everybody. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Mr. Hager? Yes, this is Joe Hager. Joe, is your father the one that makes clothes? Yes, sir. We're all together. You all made me some real lightweight slacks that he just made up on his own, sent to me 3 or 4 months ago. It's a kind of a light brown and a light green, rather soft green and soft brown. And they're real lightweight. Now, I need about 6 pairs for summer wear. Leave me at least 2.5, 3 inches in the back where I can let them out or take them up. And make these a 1/2 inch bigger in the waist. Make the pockets at least 1 inch longer. My money and my knife and everything fall out. Wait just a minute. Now, another thing, the crotch down where your nuts hang is always a little too tight. So when you make them up, give me a inch that I can let out there, because they cut me. They're just like riding a wire fence. These are the best that I've had anywhere in the United States. But when I gain a little weight, they cut me under there. So leave me, you never do have much margin there. Let's see if you can't leave me about 1 inch from where the zipper ends, round under my, back to my bunghole. All right, then. So I can let it out there if I need to. Okay. Now, be sure you got the best zippers in them. These are good that I have. And if you get those to me, I would sure be grateful. Where would you like to print, please? White House.